Daily game design time. Daily game design time, which has not been so daily the last few days. Well, yesterday was Saturday, so typical day off. But um, the thing is, this this thing has been so packed and unpredictable that it's just been easy to stay focused here. Um, anyway, some really cool highlights. I think I'll just bring up. Um, oh man, I'm tired. Uh, yeah, I'm just gonna bring up some videos. See, I haven't even really been getting a ton. Although this is weird. I feel like I got more games than this. Huh. So in general, I spent a little less time in the prototyping space than I expected, although I did spend quite a bit of time there. When did I streamed right? Um, yeah, this is odd because I know I got more games in than this. Hmm. That's really weird. Because I don't know if there's a good way. If it's not uploaded, I don't know the best way to do that. Well, anyway, I think after my stream on Friday, I went directly to the Games Bazaar, and fun little moment is that I saw the Flood twice, and the Flood, of course, is the game that Bedouin Games published, and I think delivered. When was that? Anyway, it was I think it was last summer, and that's the company I started doing the rule books for. Um, anyway, nice to see that. But this is the Games Bazaar, and the Games Bazaar was a pretty wild time. I went down just to look for, I don't know, anything, just because I was curious about what was going on down there. Just a massive room, tons of tables, stacks of games. I saw Cheating Moth for $5. Cheating Moth is one of my favorite little, just quirky, goofy games. And the thing about this game is that you have to cheat, but you can't lie. And it just creates some really fun moments. The main reason is that uh, it plays, who knows, it plays kind of like it's a you're just trying to get rid of your hand, but there are almost like Uno effects on some of the cards, and so there's a lot of like draw a card or give somebody a card, and then anyway, there's a certain type of card that you have to cheat out of your hand. So it could be make it disappear in your hat. It could be, drop it on the floor, hide it under something on the table. And I'm sure we've house ruled some of this stuff. In fact, I haven't looked at the rules in such a long time. Anyway, what's fun is when people start getting super creative with the ways that they cheat. And cheating is interesting because there's a guard at the table. The guard is somebody who's watching everybody else, trying to catch them cheating. And yeah, it just like it's cool when people start getting to the point that they want to like cheat creatively. So they start doing really weird things or really funny things, and then you try not to give them away by laughing, that kind of thing. Yeah, okay. I feel like we've played this correctly. You can do anything that's fun. Really. It's a really, really cute game and really good. And at the same table, I saw this game. I actually picked this up first. It was like it had $2 on it, and this is a little kind of, is it push your luck? Not really. There's something about, I actually forget how it works, but you're like committing chips to these sets before you really know how valuable they're going to be. And I thought it's a really clever game, and you can push your luck a little bit. Anyway, the guy threw it in for the $5 with cheating moth. It's great. It's a great little game, and I think it's really quick to teach. It'll be a good filler or just something to play with people who don't play a lot of games. And then this I thought was kind of cool. Um, this is Three Laws of Robotics. I didn't mean to get this game. I was walking by, I guess, in the bazaar, the games bazaar. It runs for an hour long, and then um, it's like this hard cut off, and then everybody has to leave the room. So I guess you can imagine what happens is people start getting desperate to like sell their games or to like empty their tables. And so a guy just handed me this game. It looks like it's a lively deduction game for 4 to 8 players where you know everyone's information except your own. So you're trying to figure out whether or not you're a robot, I guess. Anyway, haven't even opened it. The fun detail I noticed was that the game, the illustration was done. There's no way you're going to be able to see this. I can't imagine you will. But the illustration was done by Tristan Rawson, who is the same guy that illustrated my Pathfinder game. So that was a fun little detail to notice. I really am kind of bummed um, that I don't have yesterday's videos. For some reason, they're not uploaded. Well, after the Games Bazaar, I believe I went over to, I'm going to see about this. I want to see if I can figure out what's going on there. I feel like huh. Uh, yeah, this may look weird for a second. I think I can do this. I'm not sure. Is it still showing the video? It is. Hang on. Hang on, hang on. Because I took a bunch of stuff yesterday, and I just don't know why it's not uploaded. Oh, looks like it's backing it up now. Oh, it's so sad. Let me see what I have from yesterday, and then I'll just mention it so I don't forget it. But I had a really special time, and it came from um, yeah, it looks like all this stuff is uploading. Fair enough. I just don't want to miss some little details. Okay, okay, okay. All right, so um, oh, I guess I can at least look at the thumbnails while I'm here. But after I went to the playtesting room, and I actually did get um, yeah, I played the Book Collector. That's a game that one of the BGDL contacts I made. It's one she designed. Had a really really nice time with it. I guess I didn't get any video of it. Um, but sweet lady, really interesting because she's an older lady, probably in her late 50s. That would be my guess, maybe mid 50s, and she's really pushing to like she just got passionate about this game about books, has been working on it for 2 or 3 years, and her story is that unfortunately a really big a game that did very well, well, it came out this year, earlier this year, and it yeah, unfortunately for her, did really well. And it's called A Place for All My Books. And I guess she started hearing from publishers that she's approached that, oh, it's too bad. Kind of seems like that book game was already done. I mean, it's not. The game is really different, apparently. But that happens a lot, right? There's kind of a race to publish. Um, but I did play. It looks like, did I get video of this and did I mention it? Um, oh, this is what it was. I went to, was it 10 o'clock? I think it was on Thursday. You can see my memory is already scattered. I'm pretty sure I did play. Oh, that's what it was. I played Sugar Shack. I feel like I might have mentioned this. I played this other guy's version of Sugar Shack, and yeah, it was super different. He kind of asked not for me not to video what he had because he wanted to be protective of the way he was using these little trees that you sort of that you built by stacking beads on. I don't know. Anyway, I really enjoyed getting to know there was a couple and a I think I probably took some video of his games and this there's a designer who has a couple games that I think are pretty close to publication or like they're pretty attractive and like kind of getting some attention from a couple publishers. And he was really excited about it. Anyway, I played both of his games, but in the meantime, met another guy, Josh, this young guy, who designed the game called Coalition, which was crowdfunded. I think like earlier this summer. And anyway, he'll show up in a second here. Really, really fun guy, cool personality. I know he was busy like running some of that game. Um, yeah, later on in the evening, each night. So I wasn't really around them anymore. But it's just been really cool meeting people who are working on interesting projects and then actually getting to play games with them. So I think that comes to, I for me, like what the coolest experience has been so far, and that was being in the prototype room. Met this guy Ricky. I think I mentioned him. He is the designer of Coup and other games. We play tested something of his about Henry VIII, and then following day, and this was right after the playing the book collector. So I guess this was Friday. Played the book collector, and then the lady who designed it asked if she could play something that I have, and so I pulled out the bidding game, and it seems like people have actually enjoyed the bidding game, Long Winter's Nap. So we sat down, and then I saw that Ricky had come in, and he was going to start working on one of his own prototypes, like just brainstorming some stuff. So I asked him if he would be willing to come and play, and I think we ended up playing. Oh, him and Richard. Richard was the guy that ran the prototyping room. Very sweet guy too. Cool guy actually. Richard is working on a lot of uh, games for people with like vision, like low vision or no, like games for the blind or vision impaired. So he has some just cool stuff that's more tactile. Anyway, so those guys came over, and the four of us sat, and I taught Long Winter's Nap, and it was cool that like Ricky just got like really into it and really got excited about it. He called his friends over that just showed up, and we sat down and played another game of it. Um, just this cool older British guy, um, and just seeing his energy and his ideas, and the game was really working for them. And we added or kind of adjusted a couple of rules, changed the cards just a little bit. Anyway, he was really excited about it. For some reason, and later on that night, I was just circling around the big gaming hall, ran across him, and he was playing a game with oh, it was Brian Boru, which is a game that I have been around quite a bit. Andrew likes it. Some other guys like it. Omar, I think, likes it. So I've seen it and I've wanted to learn it. So I sat down. Ricky was there with his two friends, and then also the CEO of of Stronghold and Indie Games. I guess it's Indie Games, and they have a big catalog. It's mostly like Aeon's End. I think they own Terraforming Mars, and they publish Coup, which I forgot. So anyway, chatting with him, and then almost right away, Ricky was like, "Hey, do you need any kind of smallish fillers bidding games? Because this guy Scott has this game. I think you should have a look at it." And for me, I'm thinking like that's pretty nuts. I mean, my game is nothing like what I know of what Stronghold is doing. Although I guess the fact that they publish these little games like Coup, maybe that's something. Anyway, his first reaction was like, "Okay, sure, we can have a look at it. Probably not tonight. It's getting late." And it was like it's crazy to me. Like these people are just up and up. I think that was around probably 12:30 or 1 by the time I circled over to them. And so not tonight. We'll see you in the morning. Okay, so I I guess I had a kind of appointment at 10. Went to sleep around 2. There was there were a couple people that I found. Yeah, I don't see those videos haven't uploaded yet. But here, Lucky Frog Gaming. There was a really nice lady. Actually, it was a really interesting evening I had with these two ladies. One of them had been she played my bidding game the first night we were there, so Wednesday night, and she liked it. She's a very pleasant lady coming from Honduras. She has a board game cafe, and anyway, I ran into her, um, and we ended up playing games together for like pretty much the whole evening. And it was this lady Kirsten, and then another lady Crystal. Crystal is part of Lucky Frog Gaming, so you can check them out. Anyway, I'd seen Crystal several times because she and her partner are wearing frog eyes, like little head things with frog eyes, and so they stood out to me. I actually mentioned the frogs at some point, like before I knew this, before we spent any time together. So, uh, yeah, we sat together and played Copenhagen. I'd forgotten some of the rules, but it came back pretty quickly. I was able to teach and host that. We had a very nice time with that. And we exchanged some aloha. So I gave them some chocolate, and they gave me, like, she gave me this Lucky Frog stuff. And Kirsten had cardamom candy from Honduras. Anyway, we were just playing and playing and played Copenhagen. Then we played River of Gold. And this turned out to be, I think, a really nice game. I tried to play it on BGA before, and it just wasn't working. Like I just didn't, it didn't make any sense to me. Um, I mean, I was just clicking around. I didn't know any rules. Um, but anyway, Crystal did a great job teaching. But as we were kind of getting into the game, or I think right before the teach, we ordered DoorDash, all of us. So the three of us got food, and we're just sitting and chatting, and then this really wild like overlap of experience started becoming apparent because we'd all traveled quite a bit internationally. um I don't know what other stuff Kirsten has been up to, but I think she's traveled a fair amount, but she's in Honduras. I forget, I think she's from Kentucky or something. And then Crystal traveled quite a bit. She was in South Korea for 5 years or something. Married a guy from Cameroon. Anyway, so it's all this like cool, like how important it is to get out, use your passport, that kind of stuff. And then it also turned out that the island that Kirsten lives on in Honduras is mostly SDA, mostly Seventh Day Adventist. And I thought, okay, that's random. I think at some point, oh, it's because I learned that Crystal went to some small university in Tennessee. Well, then I said I also went to a small university in Tennessee. So it turns out that Crystal, when she was in South Korea, was working for one of the SDA English schools that were very well known, like 10 years ago. So just this really fun confluence. And then we played River of Gold, which I very much enjoyed. I think we played something after. I wonder if it's on my phone here. Yeah, this is awkward that my videos haven't uploaded yet. Oh, Coffee Rush, which was very nice, very tense, very interesting. When we finished that, I believe this is when this very odd tradition was going on. This top spinning tradition where people dress up as luchadors or in other costumes and just have like a top spinning competition that was going on. That's when I walked by. I went into the big gaming hall, found Ricky and Travis and their friends. They were playing Brian Boru. Anyway, very random. Okay, this is tough having a couple of days to review. Um, yeah, and nothing from Saturday has uploaded yet, except for this. Uh, yeah, except for Ricky. So okay, so I slept around 2, woke up at 8, and I thought, you know what, I could sleep a little more. Well, I slept until 11:30. My appointment was at 10 with this guy. So I basically rushed down to the vendor space, and he wasn't at his booth. So I talked to the guys. The guy said he was in the middle of a game upstairs. Go find him. So I wandered around for a while upstairs. Eventually found him. He wrapped up his game, and then I set up the bidding game. Well, it was just the two of us. I couldn't find any other player nearby, so we tried it at 2, and honestly, it didn't work super well at 2. But I think it showed some of the ideas. So he had some feedback, but in general, well, this was my very first pitch in person to like the CEO of like any kind of big company. So just that was a really cool experience, and it was very positive in that regard. And what was great too is that it just turned into a conversation about what is the state of the industry, what sort of games does he feel will sell well. And I think in a way he was just kind of being nice because he's friends with Ricky. Ricky liked the game, and so really what it became was just talking about how bidding games they don't seem to be doing very well right now. I did mention my maple syrup game, and then he had a comment like, yeah, two-player games are hard because games spread by word of mouth, so you want more people to experience them. And I thought that was an interesting point. And the implication was, of course, that if you're playing a two-player game, you're often playing with your partner. You're not necessarily excited about bringing other people in to play that game. I think that was his thinking. And so, of course, he passed on both games. But it was a really, really cool little conversation. He went to RPI in New York. So we had, again, some just kind of commonality that we could talk through. And that was really special to me, especially seeing how it was, hey, let me play test your game. And then the person I play tested, whose game I play tested mine. They enjoyed it. He's better connected than me. And then just by showing up, being in the right place at the right time, then I get this connection with Travis at indie games, and then just have the opportunity to pitch. So of course that would not happen had I not been here. So I realize the value now of showing up to stuff like this. I had no idea. And of course, there are other cool connections too, and learning about other people's experiences. Yesterday, for most of the day, I ended up being in. I ended up being in the panel room. I got up late, had the meeting with Travis, and then almost directly went to um, to these two panels. And the panels involved. I didn't take any pictures or anything from those. Well, anyway, the panels had two guys. The first one had the guy who designed Wispwood, which is CGE's new game this year. And it was interesting that last year, this time, that's when he did the speed pitching here at BGG Con. CGE happened to be there for the pitch, and then now, like all of a sudden, he's got a published game. So it was cool to hear his story. And then there's another guy that's more on the self-publishing track. Some smaller titles, but like did well. It was cool to hear what he had to say. The next panel had Alan Moon, who is the Ticket to Ride guy. It had another guy, Avalone. What's his name? Keith Avalone or something like that. Anyway, a guy that's published all of the self-published a lot of sports simulation games. Very interesting because he prints out of his basement, and he's been doing this for a long, long time. And it was his son that was the self-publisher in the panel before, and then there was Eric Lang. And so having those three guys and then the two hosts, it was a really, really helpful, really interesting conversation. In fact, I took a few notes that might be of interest. But I won't have much more to say here, but there was just a lot of cool moments, a lot to process. But I did want to share a little bit of the design and the this, I guess it's design wisdom and industry wisdom that these guys shared. I never know why Discord does this. Right? Well, anyway, after the panels, it was kind of I went down, spent some time in the vendor hall, ran across these guys again. At least the two guys who self-publish in their basement. They have their own like printers and stuff. Um, Chatted with them some more. Found Kirsten and her friend Wayne, and we just kind of hung out for a little bit. Then there was a really cool experience where I also didn't get any photos of this. There's a guy that I'd seen in the panel discussion, like sitting behind me, and I just went up to him and asked like what he learned or how it was. And so it turned out that he's this like athletic trainer, chiropractor guy, and he's working on a game that gamifies exercise. It's a card-based game where you've got your little exercise laid out, you do your thing, and if it's like a head-to-head situation, if you finish by a certain time, you get to like send a card over to the person that you're working out with, and it kind of creates another challenge for them, or it adds to what they need to do. So there's kind of a battle happening, which I thought, okay, that's clever. Anyway, it turned into this really nice session of like brainstorming and trying to clarify like what is this idea really, who's the audience. Really, really fun to talk about that stuff. So we went for this. There was this discussion for a while about this. What I thought, okay, it looks like the it looks like the game here is really this head to head. What is happening? Yeah, I don't get it. Anyway, I kind of wish there was a way to let me click through, see if anybody's visiting here. Okay, so I thought the game was really about this head-to-head thing. Then he brought out the cover, the artwork or something. He has his own little display sheet to introduce the game. And then on the game, on that sheet was a cooperative mode. I thought, you never mentioned the cooperative mode. And so I was, I was feeling that we're making progress, kind of clarifying this other stuff about head to head. And then I saw cooperative and I thought, what is going on here? So it turns out it's meant to be a boss battler. For you, you're fighting this boss as you work out. And I don't know how the boss like affects you or whatever, but when like that spark of the idea hit me, I thought that is amazing. Because I think the head to head will be great for some personalities, but in my view, I would prefer, personally, I'd prefer, and I think maybe more gamers who probably, my guess is, most often exercise less than some other groups of people. If you were just to look around the hall, you would notice there's a kind of average body type, not quite average. I mean, I would guess like that is a real thing. Like more of these people are may tend to be less active, a little more sedentary. And I think that shows. I think you look around the hall, and that's a lot of what you see. So anyway, my even though gamers are, they may often be competitive, I feel like a gentle welcome into working out is, it would be a good idea. So to gamify it, where you're fighting this boss who's trying to do stuff to you, and you and your partner are like working together to try to knock the boss out or whatever. And I guess it started as like a fantasy themed thing, but then in our conversation, it was like, yeah, it's got to be these like beach babes and like these super buff guys that are just like caricatures of whatever. What is it, beach, Muscle Beach or whatever. And I just thought that was the coolest idea, and it is something that actually might encourage me to exercise more, because I do not enjoy working out and I really should get back into it. Is it almost here or what? And I don't see any other videos loading either. Oh, okay. Actually, no. We have a couple more. So after the panels, went hung out with Kirsten a little bit. Then I ran across my friend Ryan and his sister and her friend. Ryan is of course the guy that made it possible for me to come out. I did take a photo of my pitch session. I had my game set up here, and I hand wrote this little cell sheet and gave it to Travis. That was cute. Okay, then um, went down, had dinner. We played this little zombie game, and took a few turns of potion explosion with Kirsten and her friend Wayne before I came up, and we participated in board game trivia with some, I don't know, there's some YouTube channel that kind of focuses on this stuff, I guess. Had a really great time. Actually did a little better than I thought, but we were the lowest group there. Like we did the worst. Out of, I don't know, 7 groups or something like that, and we were the honky tonky hula crew, and we're just aiming to combine our Texan representatives and Hawaii representatives. So a really fun little quiz show where a lot of the questions were like super odd and interesting. I guess I won't go over that. I don't know. I don't think they recorded any of it, but a lot of it was like, here's a clip from here's a still from a movie. Like name the movie and write the name of the game, or it had other like facts like um, this game is the only game that this designer published that has nothing to do with this and this, or what game is coming out that is like this. And it was actually cool. Like I was way more prepared for that kind of trivia than a lot of other kinds of trivia. But anyway, had a really great time. Also, there was this little group, you saw them right at the end. That's the little group I sat down and played White Castle with. I kept running into them, ran into some of them at the bazaar, ran across them as I cruise around. And anyway, it's not like they are not super warm and welcoming. I think I created maybe some awkwardness early on by just kind of showing up at their table, or maybe they think, you know, anyway, I think they could have some other complex ideas. But that was an interesting little group that just, like, it never was really super easy or comfortable to like go up to them and chat with them or something. Um, anyway, after this, I went up and we played the game Rock Hard, and great components, decent ideas. What was kind of funny is that it all came down to, or at least my experience came down to, uh, the final round, and um, there's this mechanic where you can spend candy, which is basically representing drugs, and then you spend the candy to take an extra action. If the candy you take is like good candy, you get to take another action. But you have to roll and see if it affects you, and you end up going to rehab in the next round. So this is the second to last round. I use a candy to get what I need, and I'm like kind of seeing how I can actually maybe catch up to the leader and do pretty well in the last couple rounds. So I roll for the candy. I roll too low, which it says I'm going to have to go to rehab, which means I'm going to miss super important steps to make this stuff happen so that I can catch up. And I realize I have this special ability that lets me re-roll. So I rolled 2 1s in a row. And just those 2 1s completely knocked me out of being able to accomplish what I needed to in the last round. And that wasn't quite true, but it felt very true. So the game was cute and it was fine, but because of that, there's a lot of stuff that just shows up, and I shouldn't have taken it so seriously. I mean, I really felt burned by that moment. And I mean, I can recover much better now than I could before, but it was still pretty frustrating that was like possible. I know it's unlikely, but it's still possible to be knocked out of the game because of those rolls. And it was, I guess, in a way, it was on me that I decided to do that. Anyway, this was what this video represents is probably one of the absolute highlights of this week, and it was kind of a weird thing because it's Skull, and Skull is this great, super easy bluffing game, and again, it's because I went over talked to Ricky and his friends. They were just finishing up a game and they were transitioning, so he said, Scott, why don't you come play Skull with us? We're going to sit with these guys and we're going to play No Limit Skull. And so what the guy has is 2 copies of Skull. And I think he can play up to 8. It's like 7 or 8 people. 6 or 8. I forget how many. It might be 6. But we played with 10 people, I think. And it was just this super fun group of guys, all different personalities and ideas of playing and styles of playing. And like incredible moments in this game where everybody's kind of getting the hang of what's going on. They've all played a bunch except for 1 or 2 guys. Anyway, one guy was playing randomly the whole time and created some of the most like some of the craziest moments just by the fact that nobody knew if they could trust his disc, but eventually they had to flip it over. If you don't know Skull, you should look it up. It's a great game. It's very packable, really quick to teach, and there's a lot of really beautiful tension in it with bluffing and reading other people's bluffs. It's like super good, pretty deep actually. It's the kind of thing where you're guessing what I'm guessing, you're guessing, I'm thinking. Like it's that sort of like thinking down, trying to guess what these in through these layers of like people and what they want to do, what are they trying to accomplish. So brilliant little game. This game of Skull took like at least an hour because it came down to just like the wildest ending of this guy who'd been kind of quiet the whole time. Anyway, we're all starting to lose discs. We're all pushing to win. And the randomness is starting to get people. Like the one guy was going to win, except the random guy put his disc. He survived till almost the very end. This random guy. We were the last 4. And he was in there. And created a great moment with this guy, Mike, who flipped his disc and found a skull. Another fun part about it is you just don't know what people have at some point. You just kind of, if you guess and you fail, you lose a disc, and you don't know if they lost their poison disc or not. So just really, really beautiful moments, fun guys, and then it just turned into a really fun conversation after. Got to talk with that guy Mike for a little while, but I went to bed at like 4. That was crazy. Anyway, I think I need to wrap up here. Actually, I need to check out at 11, which is in about 7 minutes. So I have a lot of work to do to get ready to go. But super good weekend. I think productive. Made some really cool friends and connections. Learned a lot. It was just good to see the process. Good to see what something is like at this scale. Even to take some notes back for um, yeah, take some notes back for the retreats. So overall, really cool experience. I really do hope to be able to come next year. It's just like it's just special, and you can see like a lot of these people have been in community here for many many years. They've been doing this over 20 years, and some of the people from like talking with them last night have been coming for like 15 years, 14 years, 20 years. And it's just amazing that they're that committed to like building this thing and offering and being a part of of an experience like this. So anyway, really special. But I think that's it for me. Thanks for hanging out, and I'll see you soon when I'm back in Hawaii. So today I'm gonna do a little vendor hall stuff. I'm gonna play a couple of things. Probably I have a bunch of work to do for my class, and then I fly out tonight at like 8:30. So it's a red eye back to Hawaii, and that's gonna be tough because we got games tomorrow night. So I'm getting back just in time to be able to prep for game night. I don't know what I'm gonna feel like. I don't know how this is gonna go, but anyway, stoked to be going home after a really super good week. Anyway, yep, I will see you soon.